Hello guys, welcome to the round of the Noisiel tournament in French, Paris. Today we'll see the game between Parenser Vedan, who is playing with white pieces. He has 2417 against our Eleyah Stanovic, who has 2259. So this is final round, and Eleyah is playing with the black pieces. Very soon we'll have the game, which will start. Okay, hello to Twitch. Hello everywhere. Both of the players, if I'm correct, have 5 points. So we are about to see very exciting game. Definitely. And it's the last round. The game should start at 10 o'clock. Yeah, they just started the clocks as well. So, what do you think, guys? What will be the opening that we are gonna see today that will be played? Maybe King's Indian or Kalashnikov? Who knows? Thanks for the Alex Ang. Thanks for the sub. Okay, thanks for the sub as well. I think Eleyah plays with his friend. I saw them on Tsugeryu Shobu tournament. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Eleyah scored 5 out of 8 last round. Correct. He won last 2 games, Eleyah, so he's in a strike. I don't know how his opponent performed. But alright guys, okay, they're gonna just start because we see that Vedan just arrived at the board. He might go for knight f3, which is very flexible. Okay, he goes e4. We have c5 on the board. Yeah. Are we gonna get Kalashnikov? Knight f3, knight c6. Now there are different types of moves. Very common theory. Okay, we get the main line, d4. Eleyah grabs that pawn quickly. We are going to get knight d4. And now we have e5. So Eleyah goes for his Kalashnikov stuff. And we will face knight b5, d6. Pretty much all theoretical. Knight from 1 to c3. This is also how I play. White is connecting his knights and he is threatening to do move knight d5. So here Eleyah has to decide between going a6 or going knight f6. Otherwise he can face a serious problem with the knight d5 move, generally speaking. There are a few things that can happen. So if we pull the analysis board, main line is a6, knight e3, b5, black threatens b4. So we have knight d5 and then knight f6. And then this can keep going. There's some bishop d3 stuff and this is pretty normal. So that's one way. Another way here is knight f6, but then it can transpose into bishop g5, which would be typical Lasker variation, and now black is forced to play a6, because rather than that, he would just get knight e3, I mean, he would just get knight e5 on the board. So we have a6 on the board as well. As we can see, Eleyah decided to play a6. His opponent responded with knight a3, and now either b5, knight f6, or bishop e7. All of these moves are available. He's probably thinking about his own lines and what he can proceed with. Okay, he goes for the b5. So basically it's forcing white to go 95. I mean, if white doesn't go 95, b4 is gonna happen. And it can just seriously be a different thing. So that's why this is just important to play. Also exists an option of here going knight from a to b1, but very rarely we see this stuff happening. So we have a moose, knight e5, and now Eleyah goes for knight from g to e7. He's proceeding with his line in his Kalashnikov course, and here Wedan responds with bishop d3, which is the best option. Here Eleyah can play knight e4, Eleyah can also take. There are other lines he decided to take. Now we have ed, and here we have knight e7. So they're both thinking about, they're both just going very quickly through this part of the game because they are very well theoretically prepared. So we have c4, knight g6, and Eleyah decides to sacrifice the pawn. This looks like a free pawn, but the part behind it is initiative. Capi12, I won with Kalashnikov against FM on some tournament, ODB. Standard ODB. Okay, congratulations. That's very nice to hear. Yeah, this is like a sharp line. Black is definitely gonna put white in a test. It seems to me like they're both very well theoretically prepared. So we got c takes b5. Alternative was to castle, but now he goes for taking on b5, and here we have a move bishop e7. So black is just ignoring overall anything about this pawn sacrifice. He's just making sure to get castles and f5 as soon as it's possible. Okay guys, as a commentator, I'm pretty much chilling when I see this theoretical stuff going on. Like they both know so much. Like we got castling, all of this is like a main line. We got short castling now from black as well. White is better, according to an engine and theory. But like I mentioned, black is reaching his compensation by the kingside breakthrough because he's preparing f5 at some point. He's definitely gonna play that. This knight is useful on g6 because he can arrive on f4 or h4, and later on the ideas might be to exchange this dark square bishop when black can maybe run queen in the game and expose white king and attack the king side. So we got pawn takes on a6. Everything is pretty much a theory. This is one of the moves. And he goes for f5. Okay, that's kind of expected. So currently, as we can see, black is down to 2 pawns because white is basically having 2 pawns ahead. But now e4 is coming and he can plant the knight on e5. He's also keeping these possibilities later on available if the knight remains on g6. So the chances for white in this line are when basically he wants to run some queenside ideas. So that's how this line usually goes. White is looking forward to attack, to take the pawn, maybe launch queenside pressure, while black is trying to just get some ideas over the king side and also the center. And when it comes to the pawn on a6, he's struggling to promote because he's just not really available to easily be pushed anymore. He's supported by the bishop from d3, but in general that's it. When the pawn crosses the half of the board, usually it's already considered as a very dangerous pawn because it can maybe end up being promoted in a few moves, and on the first look that looks scary. So many players just don't like these types of positions, but the part behind it is that if the pawn has no longer any supporters and nobody can help him, like to be pushed forward, it's just not gonna work out. And that's the case with this pawn on a6. He might remain here for a long time. Eleyah can also take that pawn on a6 at some point, but he might ignore that. It also reminds me about Banco Gambit, yeah, something like that also, but generally speaking, it's not like it's not something that is the same here. We have a slight differences. Eleyah choosing a very offbeat variation. Yeah, that is something that he actually prepared. So it's pretty comfortable for him because of the experience. Here white can run different moves. The most common idea is to just bring the knight back to c2 and try to reroute his knight later on to e3 or e1 for some defensive resources. So those are the ideas that white can run. Some other idea here is to maybe play the move king h1, and after playing king h1, he would actually make sure that his king is just going into safety. So that's something that we can also expect over here. And later on, after that happens, black can play e4, black can play f4. The setup is pretty flexible. Bishop g5 at some point. We'll see. For example, knight c2, e4, bishop e2, and now bishop f6. And here, white is still up 2 pawns, but as we can see, black has a nice compensation. Strong bishop, improved pawns in the center. The pawn on a6 can be taken whenever black basically wants. Like defending that pawn can lead to f4. And this is sort of the position that black is enjoying to have. White can try to be more aggressive, but after queen d7, it just works in the black way. I mean, that is something that can be the thing. But it seems like we got the move on the board. We have rook e1 by white. So with rook e1, he includes the rook in the game, and he also prepares bishop f1. Now the most logical approach is to just get e4, but this is not necessarily the only move that Eleyah can do. Bishop f6 is like alternative. Okay, we have the move. We have bishop g5 being played by Eleyah. So he offered a trade of the bishops. The computer doesn't fully support this idea immediately, but it might just... Okay guys, I'm trying to set up an engine to see if he actually might change his opinion, but that's probably not gonna be the case right away. So we have this idea that I mentioned before of trading the dark square bishop, and that's not something that white should go right away, because after queen g5 we can see black would be already much better. So white should be careful. Okay, we have knight c2 on the board. He is rerouting his knight back. And it's also not a great move. So now we are about to see the idea behind knight c2. Eleyah can take, and after that go queen g5. So it would be feeling like a very nice way of reaching out his idea. So knight c2 wasn't the best in this moment. What was actually better here was to play b4, where he would try to push b5 and support the pawn on a6. That would cause bishop takes, or b5 eventually. And after bishop b7, now white can play knight c4. And then he's later ready to get the move a4, a5. And we would get pretty much this balanced pawn structure, like after bishop d5, bishop f1, let's say takes, king h8, white would get these two, black would get 5 against 3, but because of the bishop pair and probably more outside connected passed pawns, it would be very problematic to see the plan for black at this moment. So instead he decided to play knight c2. Now Eleyah can take and play queen c1, knight f4, and he's gonna reach queen g5. So this is gonna be a very dynamical game. Knight c2, serious mistake. It's interesting how quickly white just decided to go for knight c2, and maybe he thought this is the line, but it turns out it wasn't the best practical choice. The white dark square bishop, he's on c1, and after the trade, which we originally got, we will get overall the dark square bishop trade most likely. Maybe it might seem that black gained, like white gained some tempo, some time, but instead what's going on is that black is getting very serious kingside attack potentially, and that's a reason why taking on c1 is the best move. So it looks like not the greatest move at first, but actually after a slight time we can just realize that it works pretty much perfectly for him, because bishop c1, rook c1, queen g5, let's say knight e3, it's already very problematic, because after all of this, now black can even take. And he's down a pawn, but he has initiative. The queen is engaged, the queen engaged, the knight engaged. So he has initiative and doesn't feel like there are any issues. Okay, we have the move. We have bishop takes e1. Alright guys, coming shortly. We're about to see how Vedant will continue. Okay guys, Vedant just arrived. He has to decide between rook c1 or queen c1. Both moves are fine, but what is coming over here is queen g5, most likely. That should be like a case, and it can be very, very helpful, generally speaking. So it can just very seriously damage the white king side. We have the move, queen takes c1. The reason why he probably wanted to play queen c1 rather than actually rook c1 is because he just wanted to stop annoying queen g5. But now Eleyah can play knight f4 and take here. Also, there's some interesting queen h4 as well. The queen on c1, she kind of looks a bit misplaced. So black position is very, very comfortable. he has different options, and sometimes in chess it's not very simple to decide between 3 or 4 options. Sometimes it's much easier when you have 1 or 2 options, because here he has 3 candidates move. He can take the pawn, but I'm not really believing that he's gonna take the pawn on a6, because right now the pawn on a6 doesn't matter that much. He can play knight f4, which is the most logical and most tempting move, and he can play queen h4 as one of the suggestions, just to bring the queen, keep the flexibility, and probably run e4. So that queen h4 is a very interesting, because queen h4 and then e4 and then some knight e5 later on might be the thing. However, I still like this move. It's my favorite, knight f4. Like, he gets the tempo, and after bishop f1 now we take. And then after takes, it seems like white is up a pawn, or at least he's not gonna have a problems, but in reality black improved his pawns, and we are about to have a pawn race. Because we don't have symmetrical pawn structure, we are about to face completely different situation, and it's not gonna be most likely a draw. That's how it goes in most of these structures. It's not just so drawish. While on the other hand, when you have the same pawn structures, it usually should be a draw, because none of the pawns can promote very easily. But as we got a completely different game than that pawn structure, we will be facing dynamical game, guys. Chat can write here if you have any ideas how is this gonna end, or what's gonna happen in the middle game. If somebody is having some ideas in the mind, feel free to write so we can discuss about it. It's good idea, queen b6, and then try to go with the pawn to f3. Queen b6 over here. You mean maybe we can try to put the pressure on f2? This would make sense if this is like a problem. But the thing is that white can just ignore everything, and now we can take, but after he takes and like queen takes, or simply right away b5, it can actually be difficult to see how is black going to improve here. So it's not queen b6, maybe you meant queen f6 here. So maybe queen f6. Queen f6 would make more sense because we keep the queen on the side of the board where the white king might get attacked, where the white king is, so he might get attacked. But then white can go b4, and after taking, there's like a4. And what I feel is the thing is that we would get the positions where now it's not very simple for black to create direct threat to the white king. And let's say he jumps knight f4, white has always some rook left, such as rook e3, then he can play a5, can support both of the pawns, start pushing them. The reason here, one, I also forgot to mention, the reason why this in general, this entire setup is great for black is because he's attacking the king side. White is trying to run an attack on the queen side. So that's totally changing the things. Because if, for example, black can't really run some checkmate ideas, it would be drastically harder to win the game in any other way when it comes to sacrificing at least a single pawn in this Kalashnikov setup. Thanks for the follow on Twitch, appreciate it. So this is something which is like a main thing that we need to point out. White is attacking the queen side, he can promote, but black is targeting a king side, and he can sacrifice whatever he wants. At the end, if he creates a checkmate, that's gonna be like game over. So that's the main difference between these two setups overall as well. That also kind of reminds me of the King's Indian, where white is running the attack on the queen side. He can maybe end up by getting like some promotions and rook for free, but then black actually reaches out the king side attack and he goes for the checkmate. So he doesn't care about any source of the ideas that can happen over his queen side as well. Which is a very logical, because the first and most important thing in chess is delivering a checkmate. And after that, of course, the value is a queen. So we have a move right now, guys. We have knight f4. He played a nice move. Oh, thanks for the ride as well. That's appreciated. We have a ride over here. Sophia Davis Chess. Thanks for it. So that's just the main point. He goes knight f4, he gets the tempo. He's asking white the questions. White has to figure out what to do. Lovely Tourist 84. Hello, I'm from Grandmaster Sophie Davis stream. Hello to you as well. Thank you for coming here. So for all the new viewers, this is open tournament in the Noisiel in a Paris, French. We have a round 9, which is the last round of the standard tournament. The time control is 90 minutes plus 30 seconds. They don't have additional increment after 40 moves, such as half an hour, which is very usual. And we have Eleyah who is playing with the black pieces, while his opponent is Panesarvedan playing with the white pieces. So as we can see, Vedant is slightly better with the rating. He has 2417, but that doesn't mean anything because we just have the pretty even game. And Eleyah is pushing for his main weapon in the last times, which is Kalashnikov. So we got the move, knight f4, and here white goes bishop f1. Kev mode poker, this is serious chess classical. Yes, exactly. This is serious chess, it's federated, it's classical. However, this tournament doesn't appear on the typical chess results website. They have their own website, which generally is going. So that is something that is good to know. So Vedant is playing safe, bishop f1. And now Eleyah can try to go for some stuff with the queen. But this is exactly the moment when he should take on a6. This is exactly the moment. Like he should just try to take on a6 and he should be fine. Because this bishop on f1, he should be traded. The reason why he should be traded is because he is a great defender of the king side. And once he's traded, it's just open up for black to... There are many possibilities for black to just open up the king side attack, put him under the pressure, and go for the checkmates. That will be much harder when we have the bishop on f1. Knight f4, bishop f1, queen g5, threatens knight h3, then maybe bishop a6. We have a comment on that. Maybe something like that, but if g3, that's a question. Now white is threatening to go king h1. That's a problem. Now we are also pinned. So also the problem is that the white queen she's just defended. So you can't really go knight e6 because the queen on c1 is just defended. That's a problem. Now black has to find the only move, which is queen g4, or at least take on a6, but I would rather play queen g4 to run out of pin. And then of course if white goes for king h1, bishop a6 takes. This is interesting. You have this crazy line. Okay, this is incredible. This rook lift and this attack, it would lead to the checkmate. That's some craziness as well. That's not bad at all when I think about it. This is not bad at all. It can very seriously damage the white position. Why he isn't taking the pawn yet? Well, because in this setup, in Kalashnikov, you kind of want to wait with taking that pawn. That pawn is not really that much dangerous. And that's why he was waiting for taking it. But yeah, now we have bishop a6. He just grabs the pawn, which is the best move. So guys, Eleyah is better here. He did. I wouldn't feel great if I was white. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. We can kind of flip the board. So you can guys see what's going on over here. But if we actually flip the board, we can see the problem. Look at this. This isn't great. This is active. This is active. Black is ready to run some attacks. So those are my predictions about what can happen. White has no development. He's struggling with his ideas. And he has to be very precise if he doesn't want to get mated, or at least black can very often like plan the knight on d3 in some lines and maybe even collect these pawns. The other thing is that this pawn on d5 he might get taken. So that might cause further trouble for white, generally speaking. And black is better despite being down a pawn. That's also nice to say. He's just down a pawn, but he's better. Imagine if he just equalizes with the pawns. That would be like incredible. This is a huge move in the match. Yeah, we can declare it like this is like a critical moment, and definitely it can, if white is not playing actively, if he doesn't find the correct option. Let's say white just goes h3, which would look like something that can be played. Black can just take and it's over. White gets forked. That's a problem. So my main point is this knight on f4, currently looking at him, he is not really threatening anything. He's not threatening to fork something. He's not threatening to go knight e2 or something like that. But generally speaking, it's just so annoying because he's activated. He's in the opponent's side of the board. He's on the fourth rank. That's a strategical advantage that Eleyah has. So he doesn't need to threaten anything, but all the time, white has to worry about the tricks. That's why this position, it's very tough to play from the white side. Because his activity isn't here. His weapon, white main weapon, can be these two pawns. So if these two pawns can somehow get covered, improve, it would completely change the game, because then white would gain a much faster queenside dynamic, which is mainly his idea from Kalashnikov. But it's not going through that way. That didn't happen. And right now we have a completely different game. So very dynamical, like somebody mentioned, it's a one move can decide about everything, but for white as well, because if white makes a mistake, he's in trouble. I'm pretty sure that if Eleyah doesn't make any source of the inaccuracies, like a serious ones or some big dynamical differences, he will still be fine because of the initiative and huge compensation that he has for the given pawn on the queen side. Trading isn't an error. White needs to just trade and go from there. Trading, he knows it only one move here to trade. Yeah, he goes for it. He goes for trading. We'll get through k6. But then it's a question what white goes after that. What white would do. I didn't see any other move. Well, he maybe had some king h1 or rook e3 alternatives, but that's not so simple. And that's not so natural. Eleyah is thinking here. He's actually trying to evaluate behind this and queen g5. Okay, this is interesting. So he doesn't take right away. We might get queen g5 on the board. I didn't even saw that. I thought he has to take, but he doesn't. Which is cool to know. Here we have some little boy looking in front of their board and in front of the camera. Okay, interesting. Queen d5 looks very solid. His eye looked over there. I saw that. Of course, he is considering queen g5 because everything else would be not really playable as well. What's your rating? Then bishop drops back to f1, queen g5 blunder. Well, actually it's not. We have perpetual. That's the main thing. So there's no way to stop this. Okay, I made it more than it should be. Yeah, he played rook a6. He probably saw, but this is the position where, I mean, not g5 because he wants to play queen g5. Now this is the position where the things are getting super, super interesting. We have a move. White quickly played knight e3. And it turns out as a mistake. Eleyah wants to win. Yeah, he wants to win, and then it would be a very successful tournament for him. 93 queen c4, I think. And it's not good, because after you take queen a6, the knight on e1 is trapped. So not only white doesn't lose the material, but he also gains the piece for free. The reason why is this a mistake is because he's doing nothing. Like he was supposed to go queen e3 and to activate a bit. That would lead to queen g3 after queen g5. But after this situation, knight e3, now Eleyah can proceed with queen g5. But he has also e4, and now he's ready to plant knight e3 on the board very soon. Knight e3, f4, and this is super comfortable. It's extremely comfortable, generally speaking. Okay, he played queen a8. So he decided to play queen a8. Kind of quickly, if I'm seeing very well. He spent 1 minute to play queen a8. But at least they are even with the time. Yeah, queen a8 is fine move. Like he just wants to... It's a natural move. He targets both pawns on a2 and d5, so it's totally fine. What does the X mean? X means miss. It's like a mistake. Also, knight d3 threatens right now, yeah. This is always the thing. Like, white rook can never move because of knight e2. Definitely, it's very, very much easier for black to play from here because he can also run some rook c8 stuff. So at some point, white can go knight f5. Maybe later on if that happens, but the game kind of changed. It went to the point where it's now going to pretty much be focused on the queen side and the center. Okay guys, so I'm gonna take a short break very soon. It's good for white to play queen b1. I think it's not good because if white plays queen b1, that seems very passive. Like he can try to do f5 attack, but then we have e4 and then knight d3. So let's see what white will play. I'm gonna take a couple of minutes break and gonna be back. Okay, guys. Let's see if we have any updates. Yep. Right now, we just got the move. So white went for queen c4. Which is pretty much fine. He's doing two things. He's defending the pawn on d5, and he's also keeping the pressure on the d6, on the a6 rook. So this is one of the best chess strategies that you can generally do. That's like play a move which does multiple stuff, such as queen c4. Eleyah can now gain the tempo. Can also go e4. Later on play knight d3. But he has multiple options again. Is he gaining or losing rating points? I think currently he is in some minus on the tournament, but I'm not sure how much exactly. But if he wins this round, it will be good. According to the body language, I'm pretty sure that both of the players can't really decide what is going on in the position when it comes to who is better, because it's intense. The entire opening is just very intense. It's not made to be like some other symmetrical structures. From the beginning of the middle game, it's already calling out. I can't say some source of mess, but it's completely double edge. That's how it goes with the Kalashnikov. What is his score right now? His score right now is 5 out of 8 on the tournament. I believe his opponent is also in the same situation. Yes, Pane Sarvedan played in the Tata Steel. He also gave an interview for them, by the way. Eleyah is ready to make a move, and he played the move, which is rook c8. Very logical. Attack the queen. Now queen f1 and probably g6. That's probably what are we gonna see. But what was slightly better here was e4 basically. And then knight d3. Then he tries to infiltrate and put some pressure. But he did rook c8, which is very solid. I mean, queen f1, rook f8. Eventually some sort of repetition would be created. So we are about to see. We got queen f1 by Vedant. He very quickly realizes that he has to go back with the queen. Because otherwise, he might get this into his position. But now knight f5 is like a threat. So Eleyah should just make sure to be careful about it. Vedant is now playing faster. Like before few moves, he took his time. Now he's kind of playing a bit faster. And we are waiting to see what will happen. Furious 5G, good morning. Furious SG. SG, I always say 5G. Good morning, good morning. This is not ideal position for Eleyah, but it's not an ideal position for white. I mean, I would like to point out for all the new players who just arrived that a few moves ago, somewhere around here, Eleyah had a great chances by playing e4 and then or either queen g5, which is also what many types of players would just decide to go for. But instead we got to the totally different game with queen a8 because he changed the dynamic. Instead of focusing on the king side, right now he focused on the center and the queen side defense. So that is something which wasn't ideal, but we still have a lot to go when it comes to this game. Okay guys, we have a little bit of camera technical issues, so probably it's a connection, but it will arrive back soon, so it should be fine. It should come back every moment. I'll also try to refresh the clocks. Now it's working when it comes to the clocks. But the camera should come back as well very soon. We're still facing a technical issues about the camera from the Noisiel, but at least, guys, we have a board. So as you can see, Black is taking his time to think and figure out what he can do. I mean, Eleyah is taking his time. Is the camera not working or is it from my side? The camera is not working. Okay, we got the camera back. Wow, that's nice. This can sometimes happen due to internet stuff. I mean, it's not like something that is impossible, but the good thing is that it's usually coming back quickly, so that's good to know. Foreshadowing. I don't know how exactly it's named, honestly. But it's alright. Now, when it's back, it's fine. Okay, I'll refresh the clock. The clock sometimes actually just is a bit lagging. So Eleyah has two choices here. Either he goes g6, defend the pawn. Either he goes rook takes a2. And I also wanted to mention rook f8, but I forgot about rook a2 can be actually... Like this is like one of the ways how the game can go. When this endgame is probably a draw, but the white will try to squeeze it to the win, and I wouldn't be very happy to be black here. So that's probably what he's aiming to do. Will be trying to do. Is he pushing for the win or he's happy with the draw? We can't know that because it depends on the position, maybe. It's very important to be present at the moment when you're while you are playing chess games. You kind of have to be present at the moment, because that will basically help when it comes to this overall. What do you think, guys, Eleyah will play? Is he gonna risk, or he's gonna play rook f8 and try to be safe over here? He can try this, but it doesn't work. Queen a6 is just over. That's no longer working. That's why queen f1 is the best possible move. Because the queen on f1, which looks... I mean, the queen on f1 looks more or less nothing special. She's doing two things. She's defending here, stopping some of these ideas. Also, she's keeping an eye on this rook on a6. That's why I feel like this rook should somehow get in the game. Maybe rook b6 as well. Rook b6, b3, and then g6. And then he plays e4, and then later on he goes knight d3. And then tries to not allow these pawns to start getting pushed. Because that's what would actually make some difference in the game. Other than that, it's a question. Four by n7. Hello, hey. I'm doing great. How about you? We are waiting for the move. Eleyah is taking a bit more time here than it should be taken, by the way. I have to refresh the clock. It seems like what happens... No, I thought that that's happening when I moved to another sport. Good too. Great. Yeah, it seems like this is a very a critical moment of the game. I have played against Eleyah opponent 3 times. Really? What's your rating? 15. I always get paired against him in the second round if I win the first. 1500? Is that what I was saying? Yeah, in India, top players first play against. I think it's pretty much everywhere how it works. That's pretty much what I would say. Pretty much everywhere it should work towards that way, honestly. Alexandre Naud, hello, welcome to the stream. You are playing a state tournament tomorrow. Good luck. That's a very important tournament. There will probably be many young talents coming up and trying to compete. If Eleyah wants to become an IM, how he can get the title? So as you can probably see, beside his name, his rating is 2259. His opponent rating is 2417. In order to become international master, what you need to achieve are two main conditions. Number one is at least crossing 2400 once in a life. It doesn't have to be official, but you can cross that during the tournament. So for example, if you played against a player who has like some rating and you have 2399, and that's like a not last round of the tournament, you won that round, you like get 2400, but it's not official on the FIDE ratings because after the tournament ends it will be. But let's say you lose a round after that, you come back. At least you cross 2400 in live. That's called in live. So during the tournament, and that counts as a one condition for the title. Another condition for the title, which is probably much. I mean, nowadays it's a question what is harder, but both things are coming over together, is to get the rating of 2400. So Eleyah's opponent has that rating, and if you get 2400 and also achieve 3 international master norms, it's like winning. It's like you get the norm. But I actually wanted to say the opposite. You need to achieve the 3 norms, and when you achieve the 3 international master norms, which you can achieve at the specific tournaments, then you fill both of the conditions and then you can get the title officially. So that's how it works. Eleyah decided to play g6, which is very solid approach. He defends the pawn on f5. He doesn't want to trade because he's down a pawn, so he wants to keep the things complicated, and we are about to see. Yes, 900 is the top seed, but I'm sure they are underrated, by the way. Thank you for your wishes. No problem. Eleyah is losing rating probably on these tournaments. He played lots of low rated players, I think. Well, when it comes to that, if you play good, if you beat everyone, you can't lose the rating. But usually what happens is that if you get into the point where it's just like totally different, it's you're playing against high rated opponents, or if you play against low rated opponents, drawing can be very, very uncomfortable. So that is kind of correct. It's not so simple to play these tournaments. I experience it by myself many times. So that's like a true thing as well. Okay, we have G3 on the board, guys. We got G3 on the board. That's like something which is expected. And now Eleyah has to play knight h5, which he is just doing right away. What are the most common mistake? 2000, 2100 mistake make. I think decision making. Like the players who are 2000, 2100, they struggle to find the decisions in the specific positions which are complicated. How many points did he has at this tournament? He has 5 out of 8. This is the last round, and we have like a last round going on. So I think both of them have 5 points out of 8. I think he had 3 draws at the start, lost to Women International Girls 2 days ago. She played really good but was lower rated than him, and he did win 3 games, but also lower opponents. I tried to follow. Yeah, I think your follow worked, but I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you. Aha, you mean you tried to follow the tournament. Well, yeah, something like that. He had 3 draws, but then there was like a win, I think. I'm not completely sure. Not completely sure. Dimitar Valkyashki, thanks for the sub. So, I mean, he won last 2 games, so he's on the winning strike. He has two wins in a row, right? I mean, he has 2 wins in a row right now. So if he gets the win today, that will be great. Yeah, he's currently losing some rating, but it's not that much. Hi, yesterday you mentioned your favorite book from Jose Raul Capablanca. Is the English title Chess Fundamentals? If so, it is in front of me on the table in chess language, of course. Dalibor May says. Yes, I think it's Chess Fundamentals, but I have to search it. So I have to basically search it. Chess Fundamentals by Jose Raul Capablanca. I'm not sure if exactly that is the book. It should be, but I'm not sure. Actually, it can be the book like that. But in the Serbian book, the Serbian version maybe looks different as well by the color. There's 3 FM in my side. Okay, interesting. Maybe it's that book, I'm not sure, but that's definitely a very nice book to start with. Capablanca had incredibly resourceful understanding of chess during his ages, and that just was like one of the things which was very nice. Yeah, 3 FIDE Masters. We have A3. So he's ready to push the pawns. Yeah, white is now better. We're about to see what will Eleyah decide to do. And what do you say about Silmar's complete endgame course and chess structures by Maurizio Florias Rios? Honestly, I didn't read any of these books completely. The another one I don't know what is the thing, but I heard about Silman endgame, complete endgame course book, and I think it's great. I think he need to find a better square for his knight. F4 to F6 to E4. You mean? Yeah, exactly. So maybe Eleyah can try something like F4, generally speaking, at some point. Right now, that would lead to some F4 knight C4 is like a way. And now he can try to complicate. Yeah, this is the way for him to try to complicate the things. But we'll see. It's getting interesting. F4 on the board, exactly. F4. Nice. Now this is critical moment. Because White has to decide where to place the knight. He can go here and here. Here it's a bit better maybe, but knight g4 also doesn't look that bad. I mean, knight c4 looks good to support b4 idea, where black would be facing the trouble figuring out his stuff. Okay, he goes knight c4 right away. Very interesting. He's playing fast in the critical situations. Do you mean white or black? In this case, it looks like white. White is playing fast. Yeah. But maybe he was calculating on the Eleyah's time. That's all. That can also be the case. But anyways, you should always double check when you feel like it's a critical position. It's always very important to double check the things and try to get used and about what can be the things which can happen. So that's what matters. Very seriously. I don't think so because he's always getting up from his chair. Maybe. It's not very simple. For example, for me, it's not very simple to sit for a few hours straightforwardly. Like I like to walk. He doesn't have to look at the board, maybe. Who knows, maybe. I actually won against Vedant over the board in a Blitz tournament. Yeah, Dalibor May. Yeah, exactly. That's the book. At what level player can analyze well without looking at the board? I'm pretty much sure that this is a specific question and there's no correct answer within it, but probably 2000 plus, very good visualization. Already, if you are FIDE master, international master, or grandmaster, you can probably visualize like a 7 to 8 moves ahead. So that can also be the thing. I mean, blindfold chess against the same straight player is risky. It depends. If you are playing this type of tournament, of course. If you can visualize 1 or 2 moves, you're a beginner, 3 or 4, you're a good player. 5, 7, you're a master, 8 to 10, you're a champion. How about Sindarov? That's what Gary says, okay. Are you and Eleyah going for any tournament together in the future? Yeah, most likely. But we were together in the Spain, Alicante, in the San Vicente recently. Okay, we have the move. Eleyah took on g3. Very logical approach. He wants to open up and set up an attack over here. So this is very logical. And I had interesting questions for you all. Okay. The tournament in Spain wasn't streamed, right? What were your and his results? My result was 5 out of 9, I think, while his result was 5.5 out of 9, if I'm good. The location of the Spain tournament was really beautiful. Yeah, you have actually on the Eleyah, you actually have on the Eleyah YouTube, you have a vlog about it. Actually, I lost 18 points of the rating, while Eleyah gained maybe couple of, or he was at the 0. I can't remember exactly. But we both agreed that we want a slightly better tournament. We could, especially me, because I lost the last round, so that wasn't a very good thing for me. Okay, Vedant took like this with h pawn, very typical way. Now I'm expecting rook f8. I mean, it's so tempting to play rook f8 here. Just get rook f8 on the board and it's just good. What did Tigran President do for a living while he was 10? I don't know, honestly. Or I forgot. There's some stuff. Taking on d5. No, it doesn't work. Because it simply doesn't work because of this pin. You have to watch out. And the black king is wide open now, so he has to watch out for that. He can't really... Oh, he actually went for taking. Oh, he went for taking. Alright. Exciting. Interesting. I'm starting to like black position. The white king looks a little bit weak. We will see over here because both of the kings are exposed. So everything can happen. 95, rook a7. Something like this. We will see. He was sweeping the roads because he wanted to buy chess books and he never said this to his parents. I didn't know about it. My bad. I'm a FIDE master, but I can't play blindfold at all, although I can visualize pretty well. I couldn't play it blindfold. I couldn't play it blindfold like until a few years ago at all. It was tough for me, honestly. It was simply hard. We got knight takes e5 on the board. Eleyah is losing now. He's worse now. In your opinion, is white better here? Yeah, white is now like setting up some pressure. Yeah, he had to play rook f8. That's also my opinion. Okay, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate. Thanks for the follow. New Twitch follower. Nice. Always prime is me. Okay, thanks. Why is Eleyah thinking if he played queen d5? I think he should have seen 95, right? Probably. But now he has to decide where to place this rook. Because here he can go back, he can go here. This is coming and that's a problem. Rook a d1 is coming. The white king is slightly safer than the black king. That's a problem. It's queen d5 work if there's a pawn on f4. No, it's the same. It's the same. There's no difference. Because this queen is strong. She's strong. Yeah, now he's burning a little bit more time than expected though. He should try to play a bit faster. But it's tricky though. It's tricky. Oh, we have rook a4. Okay, that's why he was spending a lot of the time. He wanted to go for it. But the problem is this knight. The knight is on h5 is misplaced. That's a slight issue here. The knight on h5 being a bit misplaced here. So no longer liking it. Vedant is now playing faster than Eleyah. So, it's intense. Rook d1 is a possibility. Knight d7 is a possibility. Queen h3 is a possibility. There's so many different possibilities, but here it's like, I mean, rook d1 is so tempting. Rook a d1 feels very good for white though. And he played that move, which is a strong move. He played the best move here. Now rook d4 as expected. Now if he finds knight g4, that's incredibly powerful move, but it's very hard to find it. What would be more logical is taking and queen a6, I would say. The problem for the Eleyah's position is his pieces are not really connected. Generally speaking, they're not connected. Now we have another critical moment. Vedan is trying to figure out how he should probably proceed from here. It's not so simple to play this position from Eleyah's side psychologically. So we'll see what can happen. He goes back, knight d3. Okay, that's a move that I didn't actually expected. How did Eleyah lost the pawn? Sacrifice, or he made kind of mistake earlier? He sacrificed because it's an early opening theory, but generally speaking, it's like just something that basically is a part of his line. But later on, he didn't actually found the greatest way to get the advantage. But right here, Vedant made a mistake. He played move 93, which is a bit passive, I would say. I'm not sure why he played that. I'm pretty much... Maybe he wants knight b4, but I think rook f8 is like a move. And it's looking okay at this point after rook f8, honestly. I don't know. I'm personally rooting for rook f8. Looks very good. Maybe he wants rook d2. But it's a question. It's a good question though. So if Eleyah somehow can manage to get a knight in the game, a knight on g4, he might be like totally fine with the stuff. I mean, he might try with some queen g5 ideas. He might try to put some pressure. You're about to see. It's not that simple. But he has the chances. Now he has the chances. Maybe momentum can be on his side on the board. We will see. Queen f3. There are chances knight g3 in future. Potentially. We'll see what is in his mind. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go for a short break. So we'll come back shortly before Eleyah makes the next move. Okay, guys, do we have a move? We don't have a move yet. Hmm. Queen f3, queen g5, rook f8. All of these are possible options. He should try to play faster because he's running out of time as well. So he should definitely just try to play a little bit faster, because under 10 minutes in these types of positions, it's not so simple to play, honestly, but we will see what will happen. Okay, the clock is lagging for a while. So either queen g5, queen f5, queen f3, just some queen move, just to get away with all the tactical ideas, because that's where his chance is to try to put the pressure on the white king. That's where his real chances. Rook f8 most forcing threatens knight f3. Yeah, rook f8 is what I also mentioned, but rook f8 white can play queen e2, and then he's threatening to trade the queens. That's why this is not preferable, you know. That's why it's a little bit not preferable. As long as he has increment, he will be fine. Magnus tied one. Hopefully. Eleyah had a really great position in the middle game, guys. For example, here, look at this. He had this type of advantage. He had a really great position, but a few moves after, the things went complicated. Now it's not simple anymore. It's not that simple. He lost a clan by taking that d5 pawn. Yeah, that wasn't very simple. That wasn't very simple though. Now he's at 12 minutes. Kinda don't like that. Okay, guys, we might get the move, but he is not really happy with what's going on. As well as me. Rook f8 is an option, of course. Of course, but then queen e2. And then this can arrive. The problem is counterplay. Don't exist. Like, where is his counterplay? It's not that obvious. That's a problem. Stockfish always knows the way. Well, Stockfish, I mean, we talk about Stockfish. Stockfish, yeah. Okay, he made the move. He played knight g7. So he played something that we didn't probably thought about. But now I'm not sure what happens after this. And white plays b4. I kind of don't like this line. Now he starts pushing. Like, how do we get counterplay? Because the problem is this. This is the problem. Knight g7 wasn't the greatest option over here. Hmm. 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 Let's see, guys, how this will end. It's interesting to have a tournament finish in the early afternoon. Yeah, that's like a case, like which can be the thing as well. I like when it's finishing earlier. Overall, when I play tournaments, it's better if you finish earlier, honestly. But they had a really tough tournament. It's still going on. Still going on though. Something is taking their attention. Not sure what. Okay, guys, let's see what Eleyah will do. So why is this knight move a mistake? Well, he was supposed to try to get some dynamic in the position and try to make it complicated. But with all of this coming up, it can actually, the things can get complicated. That's a problem. But Vedan didn't found that the best move. He played knight b4, which is a slight inaccuracy. Backwards, knights move are often, okay. We got this update already. So what to say, guys? Eleyah is not in a great spot, like how some commentators like to say. He is not in a driving seat, but let's see if he can hold this, maybe even win this. Who knows? It's chess, so queen c4 on the board. Probably white will take. Rook takes c4. b3 maybe. Well, it can happen. Different things can happen though. He didn't play queen e2. He actually played a slightly different move. He took on c4. So that's like fine. We have a little update. Queen takes c4. Now Eleyah grabs with this rook. Not of course with this rook, because after that rook d6 would be a second free pawn, which would be too much for white, for black. And now we are about to see what is the white plan. What was the move to put him at significant disadvantage? Knight g7. unfortunately. Knight g7, like 2 moves ago. It put him into a slight issues. And now we have knight b4, b3. I'm sorry, we have b3 on the board. Rook takes. We are gonna get this endgame with rook d1, and rook c3. He needs to play actively. Otherwise, the issues can happen. We have rook d3 on the board. Rook c1 as expected. We're gonna have king g2 definitely. It's not gonna be difference as well. We got 3 FIDE masters in the room. Yes. What's his idea with queen trade? Simplify duel to time trouble. So when it comes to the queen trade, I think he had to kind of do it, but he could also try to do this and try to make it this way. He couldn't actually avoid the queen trade. That's a problem, Mr. Lola. Lola the rules. That's a problem, you know. He couldn't actually avoid all of this. Now white is ready to push his pawns and tough position. Knight f5, okay. Yeah, we got a4. White is just pushing his pawn because that's his way. How he's looking forward to make a to make it winning. How about knight e6 instead of knight f5? But then he loses a pawn, I think. And there's some rook trade. Like a knight trade in an endgame. This doesn't work, unfortunately. It's so crazy. Doesn't even work. King f7, rook d7. Oh, not rook d7, but there's knight e5. Yeah. And it's so not easy to play as black. No, unfortunately, this is very hard. But he can fight. It's not really it's losing, but it's still like he can fight though. You're about to see. So what he should maybe try, guys, here is to get some pawn pushes over the h file and the g file, and then it would lead the game to totally questionable situation for white in general. Technically this is winning, but there are some chances. Sacrifice on g4. I don't understand the question exactly. Is Eleyah not afraid of a g4? Ah, g4. Okay. Well, g4, it can... white is complicating. Because, let's say he takes... There's this... idea. And it's like gonna be a draw. Completely. So, that's like a case. No, what white should do is white should actually focus on his own stuff with pushing a5. That's a plan, definitely. He should go a5, and after that, it's like okay for him. Yeah, he pushes, he goes for a5. Which is the correct plan. a6 is now also coming. Potentially. It's not that nice. Rook a1. Try to just stop the pawn. But a6 is also like a possibility. Also knight c6 and then b4. The another problem is the knight on f5 not doing a lot. Tough position. tough position, guys. It's not that simple. If he can somehow bring the king, it would be like good for him, but it's tough at this moment. It's not so simple. There's no time for it. That's a problem. There's no time for it. Yeah, now white goes for a6. White is just pushing forward. He just wants to make some sort of the... Which, this move is not the most accurate, but it's still winning. Is this opponent cheater? No. No. Out of respect, how comfortable are you with people eating, bringing food during the game? Please be honest. Eating, bringing food. I don't think that's like... if we talk about one moment when you take some sweet like a Kit Kat or something, it's okay. But if it's like multiple times, then it's obviously, I mean, it's annoying. So it's not a problem, I would say, if it's that case. But I don't think the arbiters are allowing that so much, generally speaking. He went king a6 though. The board should be updated. Just he played king a6. Now maybe he has some chances. He can kick the knight. I mean, it was basically like something that white could find another way. Check the cup for hidden message. Okay. Food is fine, but you should not have like entire picnic on the table. Yeah. But food is still, I mean, if it's a high sound, it's not that great. If you have like a high sound on it, it's not that great. Okay, we have a new moose. No, there's nothing. King e6 is just on the board. White has a few ways to win this. Rook d2, rook a2. But can also go g4 and give a check. And try to set up an idea of hitting the pawn on h7 though. So the pawn on a6 is used as a distraction to the rook from a8. That's simply the point. How fast enough is rook d2 to a2 compared to king d7 to c7? There. This is a problem. Like this ends up in a draw. Now black can slide his knight over here to stop the pawn and then play king a5. So yeah, white has to be a little bit careful here. I mean, white has to be careful. He can't just straight away like go for it, but we will see what will happen. We have a g4 on the board, guys. It seems like he found the correct plan. HSAP88 asked, what about rook d2, king d7, knight a2? That's like a possibility, but if we go back for a while, it's not on time because king c7, and now it goes against white, so that's not good. Pawn is a pawn, yeah. Pawn is a pawn. Maybe I mentioned that yesterday. Okay, guys. Short break and I'm coming back. Let's see what will Eleyah do. Okay, guys, we have an update. With the moves, we have rookie 3. Yeah, it's not simple. He'll play king d7, and now rook h3 is coming. That's a problem that we have currently. 92 to block the rook, not the rook a2. Rook d2, no, king b, something like that. Okay, I can check that line. Rook d2, king d7, knight a2, king c7, b4. Yeah, but white overloaded his pieces, so he can't really make that work easily. That's a problem. Okay, we'll have king d7 on the board. He played king f6. Okay, so after this he can play king g7. We'll see. Yeah, the problem for the Eleyah's position is now his pieces are not well coordinated, so it's kind of slow in general. It's kind of slow with the different things. It's a little bit slow, and that's a problem. Now white can go for g5, king f7, rook e2, and after that rook a2, where he would actually proceed to pushing this pawn forward. He's just making sure that he's evaluating that, which is a very smart decision because white has a 20 minutes more, so he's looking forward to just, he's looking forward to get his plan. That's what he's doing. Rook e2, and now rook a2 is coming. When you wait for your opponent to come back so you can resign. I don't know. Tough position. Yeah, he has to try that, but it doesn't feel, not king f7, but knight c8, it feels like the only way to try to make the things, but it's a good question if this can help though. He's fighting though, so that's a good thing. He's fighting until the end. Like it's lost it, but fight is going on, and white is still up a pawn. He's not up more than that. So that is particular something that it's worth mentioning. Like you just up a pawn, not more than that though. Yeah, we have rook c2. Knight a7. But now white can play rook c7, and then he can proceed to picking up this pawn. And it's... Actually, his prep was great. His prep was great. Don't forget that we had this first moment and this second moment in the game, guys. I would like to remind you all that we had these two things happening in the game. Like they completely just like changed the game. But Eleyah didn't took that in his favor, unfortunately, so it went differently. Trying to stop a7. He had interesting prep. French game as white versus VM. The game he lost. Also sacked 2 pawns. Yeah. The losses are tough anyway. Yeah. Correct. I agree. We have this. Now rook h7. We have rook h7 on the board, and now if he could keep this knight for a long time here, but this pawn is a big problem, yeah. He's always like either that or just extremely disappointed in his position. Eleyah looks tired. Well, it's hard position. It's disappointment, trust me. He needed to take on a2, not in theory, but in practical games, much easier to play. Yeah, probably Potham Knight, exactly. Probably something like that should have been the thing. That is something that was clearly more better, but now it's very simple to say. I mean, it's much easier for us to watch from the side, because in reality this is something that could have been a different thing. Okay, thanks for the follow. Lola the rules. Twitch. Rook a3 by Eleyah. He's trying to somehow set up the pressure, but it's tough. It's very hard, guys. Okay. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate. I have 94, a7. Can try with king g5. But the straightforward plan is just to promote this pawn, get 95 and try to get this pawn promoted. to a8. a8. Okay, we have king e6. So he's threatening to take on b3 and then on c5. Tough. Okay, guys, white is taking his time. He's trying to make sure to think about situations and to take care. There might be a chance. White is burning his time. I mean, there might be a chance, you know. White is burning his time. That's a good. He might be not so sure in what he should do. That's a good thing. Eleyah has only 1 minute. But now it's actually becoming quite Critical. Let's see. What's gonna happen? What do you think, guys? What will white next move will be? What do you think? '93, but why '93? F4 is a very strong move. F4 is a very strong move, but I don't know 93 if that's actually good. Ah, because of this. Yeah. What? This is okay. This is like the only path to work out, and then there's this beautiful sacrifice. Now 96 just wins. Oh my goodness, that's great, incredible. But he's thinking though. He's taking his time. Short break, guys, and we'll see what's gonna happen around the end. Let's see, guys. We had F4. He found the best move in the position, which is F4. Now Eleyah has to be kinda quick. Rook B6 followed by Rook A6. But Rook B6 would actually hang the pawn a move before that. Now it's tough. What did he play? He played Rook A5. So there are just some king moves. And most likely it will be enough for white. Okay, we have directly f5, which I didn't expect it actually. What after take, and king takes. What did he saw here? G5. So now both pawns are just pushed forward. Okay, that was unexpected. Really unexpected way of how the game will continue. Now it's so hard. F6, F4, G6, knight F5. Most likely it's gonna be a question. If he can hold this. We have 4. How did Eleyah time get so little? Well, because he had a hard position over the last hour, so that is a problem. Giving counterplay to black, all choice by white. I think he calculated this. After f3, king f2 is like tough. Yeah, now he resigned. Okay, Eleyah resigned the game. Yeah, now it's over. The reason why this is over is because let's say you get king f6, there's g7, and that's just it. There's no way. Now they're analyzing. Okay, that's funny at the end as what we can see. It's very nice. They're discussing about the game, but after king e5, yeah, white wins the game. Eleyah had chances, but it was pretty much in twice he had a great chances, and then it turned around to be totally different. So yeah. What if he moved black knight to prevent pawn promotion? That's what he could have done, maybe. But still there's g7, I think. There's still g7. Knight takes, rook takes. It loses the game, unfortunately. Most likely. That's a problem. Like just loses the game. It's not working out for him. Alright guys, thank you for being here, for watching the stream. Eleyah finished the tournament with 5 out of 9, but we had a really good fight, and thank you for being here. Have a nice day.